Imagine a door. Not just any door, but one that opens not to another room, but to another time. Picture it standing before you, humming with a strange energy. Behind it lies yesterday, with all its triumphs and regrets perfectly preserved. Or perhaps it leads to tomorrow, a future unwritten and filled with wonders we can barely conceive. This is no longer just a fantasy spun by storytellers. It is a question that whispers in the quietest corners of physics. What if we could finally turn the key? What if time, that relentless, forward-marching river, could be navigated? The very thought is both exhilarating and deeply unsettling. It stirs a primal curiosity within us, the same that drove us to cross oceans and reach for the stars. The implications of such a breakthrough would ripple through the very fabric of our existence, touching everything we know and believe. History would cease to be a collection of dusty records and faded photographs. It would become a destination, a living, breathing place we could visit. The great mysteries of the past, the construction of the pyramids, the fate of lost civilizations, could be solved not by scholars, but by eyewitnesses. But with this incredible power comes a profound and terrifying responsibility. Every step taken in another era, every word spoken, could send shockwaves through the timeline, altering the present in ways we could never predict or control. The world as we know it could vanish in an instant, replaced by a reality born from a single careless act. This is the ultimate frontier. It is a journey not across space but through the fourth dimension itself. The human experience is defined by our relationship with time. We are born, we live, and we fade, all carried along by its unceasing current. To gain mastery over it would be to challenge the fundamental order of the universe. It would make us something more than human, granting us a perspective once reserved for gods. We would hold the past, present, and future in our hands, able to revisit our fondest memories or peer into the days that will shape our descendants. The allure is almost irresistible, a siren's call promising knowledge, power, and perhaps even a form of immortality. But we must pause and ask ourselves a sobering question. Are we truly prepared for what lies on the other side of that door? The power to undo a mistake seems tempting, but what if in fixing one problem we create a dozen others, far worse than the original? The desire to see the future is strong, but what if the knowledge of what's to come robs our lives of meaning, purpose, and the simple joy of surprise? The very act of observing the past might contaminate it, like a scientist altering an experiment just by watching it. Before we take that final, fateful step, we must confront the immense and chilling possibilities that await. The door is before us, and the key is almost within our grasp. How could such a thing even be possible? How could a person untether themselves from the steady march of now? The answer may lie in the very nature of the universe. Albert Einstein, a man who saw the cosmos in a new light, showed us that time is not constant, it is relative. It can be stretched and squeezed like a piece of cosmic taffy. He called this concept space-time, a four-dimensional fabric that weaves together everything we see and experience. Gravity, he taught us, is not a force pulling us down, but a curve in this fabric caused by massive objects like planets and stars. Time, in essence, flows at different speeds in different places. Think of it like this. Imagine you have two clocks perfectly synchronized. You leave one on Earth, and you take the other on a spaceship traveling near the speed of light. When you return, you will find that your clock has ticked slower than the one you left behind. You will have aged less than your friends and family. You have, in a very real sense, traveled into their future. This isn't science fiction. It's a proven phenomenon called time dilation. To travel forward in time, one might only need to find a way to move incredibly fast, or get very close to an object with immense gravity, like a black hole, and then return. The journey would be a one-way ticket to the future. Traveling to the past, however, is a much trickier proposition. One theoretical possibility involves something called a wormhole. Picture space-time as a giant sheet of paper. To get from one point to another, you would normally travel across the surface. But what if you could fold the paper, bringing the 2 points right next to each other? A wormhole, or an Einstein-Rosen bridge, is a hypothetical tunnel through space-time that could act as a shortcut, connecting distant points in space, and perhaps in time. Stepping into one end could, in theory, let you emerge at the other end in a completely different era. Of course, these are just theories, whispers on the edge of science. Creating a stable wormhole would require exotic matter and energies far beyond our current capabilities. Yet, the possibility remains tantalizingly open. The physics that governs our world does not explicitly forbid a journey through the ages. The path may be hidden in complex equations and cosmic phenomena we have yet to discover, waiting for a mind bold enough to find it. The dream of time travel is not new. It is a story we have been telling ourselves for centuries, a deep-seated longing woven into our culture. From H.G. Wells and his iconic novel, The Time Machine, we were introduced to a future of Eloi and Morlocks, a cautionary tale about the path of human evolution. His story captured the public imagination, planting the seed of a machine that could shuttle a brave explorer through the ages. This wasn't just an adventure, it was a philosophical journey, asking profound questions about progress, society, and the ultimate fate of humanity. It set the stage for countless stories to come, each exploring a different facet of this incredible idea. Our fiction is filled with time travelers, each serving as a mirror to our own hopes and fears. Think of the whimsical adventures of Doctor Who, a lonely god hopping across all of time and space in a blue police box, righting wrongs and marveling at the universe's wonders. Or consider the desperate mission in The Terminator, where a soldier is sent back to prevent a catastrophic future war against machines. These stories are more than just entertainment. They are thought experiments that allow us to explore the moral and ethical dilemmas of time travel from a safe distance. They let us ask, what if without suffering the consequences, playing out the best and worst possible outcomes? This fascination reveals something fundamental about the human condition. We are creatures haunted by the past and anxious about the future. We carry our regrets with us, wondering what might have been if we had made a different choice, said a different word. The ability to go back and fix a mistake, to see a lost loved one more time, is a deeply powerful and emotional fantasy. It speaks to our desire for control, for a second chance. We look back with nostalgia and longing, viewing history as a golden age we can never reclaim, or a dark chapter we wish we could undo. Time travel offers a seductive, if impossible, solution to this very human pain. Similarly, we are driven by an insatiable curiosity about what lies ahead. We want to know if we will cure diseases, if we will colonize the stars, or if our worst fears about war and environmental collapse will come to pass. The future represents both our greatest hopes and our deepest anxieties. Stories about traveling forward in time are often warnings, like George Orwell's 1984, or beacons of inspiration, like Gene Roddenberry's vision in Star Trek. By imagining these futures, we grapple with the choices we are making today. Our obsession with time travel stories is, in truth, an obsession with ourselves, our past, our future, and our place in the grand unfolding narrative of the cosmos. If the door to other times were to swing open, the world as we know it would be, well, irrevocably transformed. Every aspect of society, from our economy to our personal lives, would be reshaped by this new reality. History would no longer be a field of study based on interpretation and evidence. It would become a branch of observational science. Historians could become temporal tourists, traveling back to witness the signing of the Declaration of Independence or to hear Socrates speak in the marketplaces of Athens. The debates and mysteries that have fueled scholarship for centuries could be settled with absolute certainty. We would know, once and for all, the truth of our origins. The economic and technological implications would be staggering. Imagine being able to travel to the future to learn about groundbreaking technologies, then bringing that knowledge back to the present. We could leapfrog centuries of development overnight, curing diseases, solving our energy crisis, and unlocking the secrets of the universe. However, this could also create unprecedented economic chaos. Who would own this future knowledge? How would it be distributed? A single corporation or nation with exclusive access to a time machine could gain an insurmountable advantage, creating a global power imbalance greater than any the world has ever seen. The stock market would become meaningless if its future performance was already known. Our personal lives would also be turned upside down. The concept of a single, linear life would begin to erode. Would you visit your own childhood, a silent observer watching yourself play? Would you travel forward to see the person you will become, or to meet the grandchildren you might one day have? The temptation would be immense, but this knowledge could be a heavy burden. Knowing your future could strip your choices of their meaning, turning your life into a script you are simply acting out. Relationships would become incredibly complex. The very notions of aging, memory, and experience would be challenged in ways we can barely begin to comprehend. Furthermore, a new form of tourism would emerge: temporal tourism. People might pay fortunes to walk with dinosaurs, witness the building of the Great Wall of China, or attend a concert by a long-dead musician. This would create a massive industry, but also an ethical minefield. How do we ensure that these tourists do not interfere with the past? A single misplaced object, a modern virus introduced into an ancient population, could have catastrophic consequences. We would need a new set of laws, a new form of policing, the temporal police, to manage the flow of people through the ages and prevent history from being damaged or rewritten by carelessness or greed. With the incredible power of time travel comes an equally incredible potential for disaster. The most famous and feared of these dangers is the grandfather paradox. The concept is simple, yet its implications are mind-bending. What would happen if you traveled back in time and prevented your own grandparents from ever meeting? If they never meet, your parents are never born. And if your parents are never born, then you are never born. But if you were never born, how could you have traveled back in time to interfere in the first place? It is a perfect contradiction, a logical loop that threatens to unravel reality itself. This is just one of many paradoxes that could arise. Any interaction with the past, no matter how small, could trigger a butterfly effect. In this idea, a tiny change in one place can lead to massive, unpredictable changes later on. Stepping on a single insect millions of years ago could, through a long and complex chain of cause and effect, prevent the rise of mammals, and thus, humanity. A well-intentioned traveler might go back to prevent a terrible war, only to find that their actions lead to an even worse conflict down the line. History is a delicate tapestry, and pulling on a single thread could cause the entire picture to unravel into something unrecognizable and monstrous. Another profound danger is the personal risk of encountering oneself. What would happen if you came face to face with your younger self? The psychological shock alone could be devastating. Would your past self be able to handle the knowledge of their own future? Seeing your older self could eliminate all mystery and choice from your life, creating a deep sense of fatalism. Some theories even suggest that such an encounter could be catastrophic on a physical level, causing a short circuit in the timeline that could annihilate both versions of you in a flash of energy. The universe may simply not permit such a direct violation of causality. These dangers force us to consider that some doors are best left unopened. The universe might have its own self-preservation mechanisms. Perhaps any attempt to create a paradox would simply fail. The traveler might find themselves unable to change a key event, as if guided by an unseen hand. Or more frighteningly, the timeline might correct itself, but in a way that erases the traveler from existence. The power to edit time is the power to erase realities, to commit a form of cosmic murder on a scale we cannot imagine. We would be like children playing with a weapon of infinite and unknowable power, with no understanding of the consequences of pulling the trigger. We stand at a precipice, staring into the abyss of what might be. The possibility of time travel forces us to look inward, to examine the very core of what it means to be human. It is the ultimate test of our wisdom, our restraint, and our character. If we had the power to rewrite history, could we be trusted to use it for good? Or would our inherent flaws, our greed, our vanity, our short-sightedness lead us to shatter the timeline in pursuit of selfish goals? The temptation to correct our personal regrets, to avenge historical injustices, or to secure a better future for our own tribe would be almost irresistible. This is a power not meant for flawed beings. The history of humanity is a story of incredible discovery, but it is also a story of how we have often misused the power we gain. We split the atom to unlock a source of boundless energy, and we immediately turned it into a weapon of unimaginable destruction. We connected the globe with the internet, hoping to foster understanding. And instead, we often find ourselves more divided than ever. Every great technological leap forward has come with a dark side, a shadow that follows close behind. Time travel would be the greatest leap of all, and therefore it would cast the longest and darkest shadow we have ever known. Perhaps the greatest danger is not that we would destroy the past, but that we would devalue the present. If any moment can be revisited, does any moment truly matter? The beauty of life is, in part, due to its fleeting nature. We cherish memories because they cannot be relived. We make choices with care because they are irreversible. If we could undo any mistake and relive any joy, life might lose its urgency, its significance. We might become a species of ghosts, endlessly drifting through the corridors of time, never truly living in any single moment. The present would become just another stop on an infinite itinerary, robbed of its preciousness. And so, we are left with the ultimate question, a question that echoes in the space between seconds. Even if we could unlock the secrets of time, even if we could build the machine and chart a course through the ages, should we? Are we as a species mature enough to handle the keys to creation? Are we ready to become the arbiters of what was, what is, and what will be? Or is our place to simply live out our lives on this one-way journey, to embrace the mystery, to accept our limitations, and to find meaning not in changing the past or controlling the future, but in the here and now? That is a question we must answer before we dare to turn the key.